Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Marking Around 3. Today it's actually snowed. Like, I don't think it snowed in 2019. We have like this much snow in England at the moment and it's amazing. So me and Jacob are gonna go chill in the snow later, which is why I'm wearing a white top. I don't know, I thought maybe snow white, you know, wearing a tank top while it's snowing doesn't really make sense. But in today's video I am going to be doing part 2 of ranking dances done to the same song. The first time I did this video I asked you guys to comment down below if you wanted to see part 2 because there were more dances done to the same song which I didn't mention, and I had a lot of requests for part 2, so this is part 2, and I think if you guys want a part 3 then do the same, comment part 3. I'm really annoyed today because the little tripod thing on my ring light is broken, so I'm having to use a tripod behind my ring light, which is why we're a bit further away, so I'm gonna have to zoom in the camera. You might not notice. And I've got my bed desk. I got a bed desk for Christmas. I saw it on Emily Tinglin's Amazon like finds, and she was like, you have to get one. So I got one for Christmas as requested, and I'm excited to use it later when I'm editing, but it's currently standing my laptop up and I like it. So the structure for this video, basically I am taking all of the dances done to the same song and basically ranking which one I think was the best. And it's not to do with whether the song was relevant to the dance, whether it fitted the plot. It's just literally basing it upon the dance itself, which one was the best. So I have 10 songs once again, and the first one we're doing is Do It Like This, and this was performed by James West and Aldon as a trio in season 4, and also Piper and Josh in season 5, and Chloe did a trio in season 2 as well. So out of the 3 I have put Piper and Josh's duet at the bottom because I just don't feel like there's much chemistry between them. Even though it was meant to be that Piper has a crush on Josh, I just didn't really feel any chemistry there. Also, it was quite gestural and pedestrian, and I just feel like for a hip-hop duet, Piper could have brought a lot more to it because we know she can do hip-hop very well. I just don't feel like it was the best duet they possibly could have done. Second, I have put Chloe's trio, and I really appreciated that Chloe tried to do hip-hop and she kind of had fun with it. She wasn't just literally pretending to be something she's not. Like, she knew she wasn't the best hip-hop dancer and they used that to their advantage. They had Chloe as like the feature of the dance. They were doing the lifts with her and the boys kind of went aside and stuff, so I liked that. I'm also glad that it wasn't full of crazy tricks that would have showed Chloe to be the weakest dancer. They kind of brought themselves down to her level without weakening themselves. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was a very good trio. So that means that top out of the 3 of them is the boys trio that they did in season 4, and I just feel like I love how their personalities individually were shown, and the unison sections that they do are super good. It just feels very natural to watch those 3 boys dance together. The next song we have is Falling Behind, and I wasn't going to do the season 3 battles originally because they were kind of like auditions, and I said in the first video I wasn't going to be doing auditions because it's hard to rank them. Oh yeah, I'm not ranking auditions if it's done to like the same song all the way through. Like A-side, for example, with the alternates auditioned in season 7, I'm not going to rank all of those auditions. Because they did individual solos in season 3 auditions, I am going to rank those. So we have Chloe's solo, Skylar and Rochelle's duet, Sierra's solo, Riley's battle solo, and Kenzie's solo. At the bottom is Sierra's battle solo. And Sierra's solo was super short, so I kind of had to judge it objectively, like based on the standard of that would be the same as the standard of the full solo. There was nothing really spectacular for Sierra. I feel like compared to everyone I've put above her, Sierra's flexibility and extension isn't as high as them, and her stage presence wasn't as strong. Probably because she didn't have as much of an audience as everyone else, and she was competing against her sister under a less pressurized environment. Above it, I have put Kenzie's solo. I think it's a good solo. I really like the tumbling that she does in it, and she gets all of her moves on the beat, but I do feel like towards the end the stamina started to go downhill and it started to drop a little. I have then got Chloe's solo. Now Chloe did this solo in the season 3 internationals battles, and personally I don't know, I liked how it was still Chloe. It was very fluid and stuff, but I just would have liked to see that side of her more. So for example, the solo she does to More Than This when she leaves the next step, I think is pure Chloe. It has all her best moves in it and looks very easy for her, whereas the battle internationals, I feel like she was trying to be something she wasn't, even though she was trying to bring her best and stuff. I don't know, it just wasn't my favourite from her. I like how we saw new elements from her, like her back walkover, but I just feel like a different song would have suited her dance better. But this technique and this leap in particular was perfect. It was just the parts of the back handspring that I just don't think fitted well, and they weren't the most fluid. It wasn't her natural style, and it kind of lacked Chloe's usual passion for me, but it was technically better than Sierra and Kenzie's in my opinion, and had more intensity. Next is Skylar and Rochelle's duet, and honestly it's not my favourite because I feel like Rochelle is showcased more than Skylar, and it doesn't play to Skylar's strengths whereas it does for Rochelle. I do think the difficulty is higher than those beneath it though, and it's got a mixture of different elements. For example, the final section, I just wish, for example, that on this final section they'd choreograph for Rochelle to do a cartwheel as well as Skylar, because it makes Skylar look less advanced, but I do think they kept the energy and intensity throughout, and Skylar got to show just how strong she really is when she lifted Rochelle. Which means in first place we have Riley's battle solo, which I really liked, and I do feel like Riley brought her all to it, you know, because she thought that James was going to equally do the same thing. He was going to go all out as well. I think it was one of Riley's best performances really, and she really did stick to the deal of bring your best and it's just whoever wins fair and square between her and James. I'm just a sucker for Riley's contemporary style really. I really like her turns, how she went down to the floor, all of the intricate like contemporary movements that she does. She does a lot of contractions. Yeah, I just really like this solo. I also love how Riley kept it authentic rather than just doing what she knew would be impressive and win. The solo was very Riley, and I can't see anyone else doing her solo. Next we have It Used to Be Everything, and we have Alden's tap solo and LaTroy's hip hop animation solo. I've picked LaTroy's solo as my winner. And I know that the season 7 male solo auditions were also done to this song, but I'm not including them because I said I wasn't going to include auditions done to just one track rather than individual solos from start to finish with the song individually. With Aldon, I love the fusion between the tap with the hip hop and the contemporary. He fuses so many things in it, even acro, because he does tumbling, I'm pretty sure, as well. And I really wish that Grace and Marcus in season 7, when they did a tap duet, had gone more down that line. So don't just completely take your tap shoes off and just do a contemporary hip hop dance instead. They could have fused it more like Aldon did. I just feel like Alden Solo lacks something for me. I don't know whether it is the fusion that stops it from being my favourite, but it seems quite, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it's just not enough for me that's given. It's very just okay. Yeah, it's okay in my mind. It's nothing spectacular. However, the difficulty of it was very advanced. I can't knock it for that. But let's talk about LaTroy's solo. So this is the one that he does in Studio A when J-Troop walk in, and I just think that scene overall is very underrated. I think season 5 has a lot of underrated moments, to be honest, but this one in particular I wish had more kind of, I don't know, just was in our memories a bit more. I just think it's an iconic scene, and I like how, because in the description of that scene on YouTube it says that it was completely improvised between the two of them, and I really like that natural vibe. I think Akel, who plays LaTroy, is very naturally comedic, and you could just tell that scene is very easily done for him.
Okay, see, listen. I was here first. I mean, I kind of booked the spot.
Excuse me? Emily booked the space. Now it's time for you to get out.
Wow, are you serious?
Please take your bench off the floor.
No, I want to move my bench. What are you talking about?
It's sitting in the middle of the floor. Move your bench.
I know your mama didn't raise you that way. I'm not moving that bench. You move that bench. I didn't realize the J&J Troop stood for jerk.
I really like how LaTroy shows emotion in his solo, and it's not just like, oh, I'm going to dance about an orchestra, and then he just does some random moves and claims that it's about an orchestra. You can see the individual instruments that he uses. You can tell that he's going through the motions. It has a clear start, a start, middle, and end. I just think in general, LaTroy is a very charismatic dancer and character, and Akel himself seems like a very charismatic person, so this solo was very strong. We then have My Turn, and this was Amy and Henry's solos that kind of switched between them to the same song and the same time, and Alden and Talia's duet. So second of the two, I have put Alden and Talia's duet. I like it, and I really think that I get such positive vibes from the two of them dancing together and just being in scenes together. I think they're very, very complimentary of each other. In particular, I really like the lift that they do. I've never seen anyone on the next step do that lift before, and I don't think anyone did it after them. That just is Talia and Alden's lift for me. I really, really like it. But above them, I've put Amy and Henry's solos that are kind of duets because it's done at the same time. I don't know, I just think the intensity really matches the song. You can see the emotion from the both of them. They're both really giving 100% of their action. actions, and I just really like it. We then have Open Up, and this was of course done by West in season 3 for his battle. In season 4 they did a dance through history, and each character kind of did a different move from a different era. We also had Michelle versus Cassie doing hip hop. And Aldon also used it for his battle solo. The song was also played when Aldon was choosing his battle solo, and he did a mini dance to it, but because it was so recreational and really just not anything special because he was practicing, I'm not really placing it too high and it's going at the bottom. I have then got the hip hop lesson that Michelle and Cassie have, and I think it was great to see them do something different, but I don't feel like it was, you know, stellar hip hop. I think it flowed really nicely and it had a really nice vibe, even though it was just recreational. I do really like when they come together at the very end and they're doing like this movement or something like that, I'm not sure. It was nice to see something different from both girls, but it's just nothing like spectacular. Next I have got the dance through the ages that they also do in season 4. So we have Piper, Henry, Amy, Sloane, Rochelle and Cassie taking part in this, but Rochelle didn't dance because Briar was injured. They say that on the extended dance description or in the comments or something, but she was injured, so she didn't dance. She was just sat down and she was cheering them on and everything. But I really wish that instead of having Briar sat down or Rochelle sat down and making it obvious that why isn't Rochelle dancing, Rochelle could have been the one filming and Cassie could have taken part, because Cassie later does dance in her own video. I forgot to say it if you haven't seen it. Cassie's making a film project, a history project, using a camera, and she's filming everyone doing different dance styles over the eras. Amy takes over from Cassie when they switch so that Cassie can do some dancing. Why not just have Rochelle film the whole thing and be like, oh, I don't dance to have fun, I dance for seriousness, and I'm not wasting my time doing this, but I said that I'd help out because I have nothing better to do. And Rochelle could just be filming the whole thing, Cassie can get involved, Amy can do her stuff. It just makes more sense for me. Like, instead of just having Rochelle sat down, just have her, yeah, you know what I mean, it just didn't make sense. But the song Open Up is used in Amy and Henry's duet section that they do. There's such babies in it. I love the power and the intensity that they have. They have such charisma. They're really having fun with it. They're bringing all their energy. It's great. I really, really like it. Second, I have Alden's battle solo, which starts with him tumbling and really setting the tone, and I think it was super strong, but at times it did seem fragmented and a little bit rushed, even though it maintained all of its energy and was clean. Also, you can probably tell by now that West is going to be first, and the reason that Aldon is second is because he's not as charismatic as West is when he does his solo until this ending pose. So in first place we have West's solo that he does at the international battles. I think it's just amazing. I can't not put it first. West is such a naturally charismatic dancer and character, kind of like LaTroy. I love how he integrated his basketball with it at the end when he does the back tuck and he catches the basketball. Yes, we love it. You can just tell that he kind of isn't worried at all. He's just performing. He knows he's going to win the battle. He's just going to bring his best to it. You can't see any nerves. He's just dancing for himself. He looks at himself in the mirror, but not in an arrogant way. He's just like, he enjoys dance so much. He's just dancing for himself. Yeah, I just really like it. The next song I have is That's How I Know. Second, I have Kenzie and Finn. I actually think this duet is underrated. I think it starts kind of like fluctuant. There's a few weak moments, but when the beat kicks in, I really like it from that point. I like seeing the both of them be quite intense with their movements and just bring all their energy to it. But first, I have put the small group from season 4, which Skylar and the 0% girls do. It's the one with the apple and it's like the evil queen or something. I just think it blends all their styles very, very well. I love the line bit, how they do it in canon. But I will say, I think it would have made more sense for Sloane to be the one with the apple and be the evil queen, which Skylar does, because she leads the hip hop sections, but Sloane is the strongest hip hop dancer probably. Even though Sloane mostly does whacking, I just feel like it would have been nice to showcase her a little bit more. Skylar does do a few acro moves and stuff, but Sloane could have done something instead and just had more of a pivotal role. I just would think that would have been nice. We then have Hotel, which was used in the season 3 internationals routine, but also the season 6 convention routine. And I've put season 6 second of the two. Now I really do like this dance, but I will say I like it more when it's just the 3 girls. I don't know why. I feel like the integration of the boys, because they didn't really have much of a costume, that it kind of took away from the dance itself and it lost something for me personally. But it is one of my favorite routines of season 6. I like the difficulty, I like the intricate movements, I love the sharp isolations at the very beginning. And I also just like how, just because it's a trio doesn't mean that it's just 3 people dancing in unison. They all have a moment to shine in the trio. And I love the bit where they do, I don't even know what the dance move is called, it's when they do the leap into the split and then they do the floor work. I just think like the difficulty and the advancement of the routine is probably one of the hardest ones the Next Step has had. I just think that, in my opinion, the boys weren't needed, which is why ultimately I think I'd prefer the rehearsal version of the routine if it was completed and they'd performed it in the same costumes and environment. But I'm not going to knock Kingston at all, because those backflips that he does when he alternates his hands, yes, king, love it. This bit of hair is so annoying. I keep having to like tuck it in underneath. I don't know why it keeps sticking out, but it does. So season 3's internationals routine is at the top, because we have to imagine it, the characters themselves are doing the dance, not the actors, and the characters are completely blindfolded, even if the actors aren't. And I just think for them to all be blindfolded and to be doing this dance is absolutely incredible. The difficulty of it is stellar. It's way above the season 6 one, even though that one is hard. The girls probably won't be able to do it blindfolded, whereas Noah doing his backflips across the stage blindfolded, absolutely amazing, and I love it. I love the general sharpness in the dance, and I also think that Riley and Noah have good chemistry when they're on stage dancing. I think that their lifts and their whole sections, Riley seems to have a lot of trust in Noah. We next have hanging hats, and this was done by Stephanie when she auditions to make it back onto the internationals team. Hunter and Michelle do a duet, and Kingston and Kenzie do a duet. So in bottom position of them, I have put Kingston and Kenzie's duet. This is in season 7 when they're faking being in love for Miss Angela. Honestly, I think it started off good, but once they started doing the same moves as like Michelle and Hunter did in their duet, and they started doing lifts together, and they started repeating the same thing like 6 times. I think they did the turn about 6 times, and I was just like, aren't we meant to be advanced dancers? Like, I don't know, it just wasn't my favourite duet whatsoever. And Lily was on about it being the most romantic duet she's ever seen, and I don't know what she was watching, honestly.
This is the most romantic dance I've ever seen. I don't know how much more of this I can take.
Second, I have put Stephanie's solo, and when I first watched it, I didn't really think it was internationals worthy. I didn't think she made the team like head and heels over anybody else. I actually prefer Daniel's solo, but I guess they just chose Stephanie because Daniel, it was a bit toxic and evil in season 3. Stephanie did show moves that she hasn't done before though, and you could see that she was really, really trying her hardest. Like in her face, you could see she was trying her hardest to make the team and just prove to everyone that she had improved. But I do feel like Stephanie always dances with a little bit of, oh, I really need to look pretty while I'm doing this. It's just in her face and her mannerisms. I feel like when she does the points and when she's like holding her head, it's like, oh, I need to look so beautiful when I do this. There's just something missing for me. I want Stephanie to let go more. So first place, I have Hunter and Michelle's duet, and I really think that this is such an underrated duet. And I think if they had a duet round, no, they did. I think Hunter and Michelle should have gone for the duet against James and Riley instead of Talia and Giselle doing it. I know that Michelle was trying to get Aldon back and whatever. She didn't want to associate with Hunter. I don't know. I don't remember the drama. But it's so good. And if we're actually ranking Whirlwind versus Hanging Hats for Michelle and Hunter, I prefer Michelle and Hunter's duet. I think the stuff in it we haven't really seen before. I like seeing Hunter do contemporary mixed with hip hop, and when he lifts Michelle, I think all the lifts are really, really good. They complement each other's styles excellently, I think, and I think they have a natural chemistry between them. I don't know, I just wish the duet had got more attention because no one even saw it. They just did it privately. Wasted opportunity, TNS. You could have used them so well. Okay, next I have Empire. There's so many for Empire. So let me read the list off. We have, and this is the order from bottom to top, Michelle's hip hop solo, Rochelle's solo, Noah's solo, Empire season 3 group dance, Empire International's group dance, and Alden's Empire Solo. So we'll start at the bottom. We have Michelle's hip hop solo that she does in season 4. I feel like it was messy and rushed, and I don't think it really showed Michelle in her best light at all, because I don't think Michelle is a hip-hop dancer. If she's going down the more hip-hop route, I think Michelle suits commercial, which is kind of like jazz hip-hop fused together, kind of like jazz funk, but more music video-ish. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think it suits Michelle whatsoever, and the moves that she had in it weren't that impressive, and I felt they were trying to make them more impressive than they actually were. I also wish that she tied her hair up. You know how I feel about dancers not tying their hair up when they're dancing, but it was in her face so much, and yeah, it just really bugged me. We next have Rochelle Solo, which was a sad emotive solo in season 7 when she was saying how she was sad about something. We didn't really understand. She was admitting that she was jealous of Summer all along, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like it was as emotive as it was meant to be. The movements in it were very good. However, I feel like they could have been more for Rochelle. I'm not sure. It was definitely complex and fluid, and there was very good transition movements. I think it's probably one of the best times Rochelle has danced. However, the reason behind the dance and what she was trying to do, as in she was trying to do an emotive solo, it wasn't emotive for me that much. I don't know, I feel like Rochelle is still putting up a wall between us both, and just compared to every other dance that was done to Empire, it's not as good in my opinion. Above it, I have put Noah's solo that he does when he leaves the next step, and I just feel like Noah was attacking the solo with a lot more heart and emotion than Rochelle did. I think that's also because he wasn't putting all of his best moves into it. He was just doing whatever his heart kind of felt like he needed to do. He had obviously moments where he was doing a great trick, but he also had moments of stillness where he just reflected, whereas Rochelle was just like, oh, I'm going to do loads of turns here, and then I'm going to do a jump, and then I'm going to do a leap here and a leap here. I don't really get how it was showing me emotion until the end bit where she was in slow motion, and I didn't like the slow motion effect either. So yeah, I just preferred Noah's goodbye solo. Then we have the Empire Season 3 group dance, and I talked about this last week because it was the mid-season opening routine. It has lots of different elements in it, loads of different focuses, lots of different formations and lines, different styles as well, and different people lead different sections, which I really like. Yeah, I just think overall it's one of the strongest group dance that is done, not competitively and just in Studio A. But above it, I have put the Empire International's final routine. So obviously it's based on the one that they did in mid-season, but it's not exactly the same. I really like the costuming, the set, the plot, and also the camera angles used benefit the dance positively. Like for example, when Wes leads the group from the corner, the camera is in the corner. It's not like showing them in a bad light. I just think overall everything in the mise-en-scène of the dance worked well. First place though, I have Alden Solo that he does because I love it so much. I've talked about it multiple times, but I talked about it when I ranked competitive solos, duets and trios, I think. I think it's beautiful how raw the solo is. It has all of Alden's best moves in it. You can tell he's really focused and is really dancing passionately and from his heart. I just think it is the best dance done to Empire. The final dance that we are going to be talking about is Famous, and this was done in season 4 regionals in the group dance, but also the season 5 trio. So the season 5 trio was done between Sloane, Henry and LaTroy, and I put it second because it was just like a freestyle fun solo. But I did like seeing the boys dancing to their best ability really, because I feel like LaTroy and Henry are two of the best animation dancers of that season, and season 4, if we don't include Wes because he wasn't properly on A Troop. I think it's really nice when you see dancers have the same style dancing together and boosting each other up, rather than having it be too much of a mix and they're having to lower themselves to kind of fit with other ones, and then they don't get shown to their strengths because they're having to do a different style. I just really liked seeing them at their best, really, and just having fun with their movement. I just can't put it above the competitive routine because it didn't have the same intensity that the competitive routine had, but it did use elements of the competitive routine that they'd done the season prior, which I really liked. I like how they brought it back to kind of old times and stuff. They did the same choreography, but yeah, it's second. So first place is the season 4 regionals routine that they do. It's Noah, Skylar, Piper, LaTroy and Henry in a quartet. Quintet. I really think they chose the perfect people for the routine. Obviously Sloane couldn't do the routine because she got disqualified, and Alfie had to be taken out of the routine because he was, you know, back in Switzerland or whatever. But I think it is one of the strongest routines from regionals, and I generally don't have any complaints about it. So that was me ranking dances done to the same song on the next step. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you would like me to do another one of these, so it'd be part 3, then leave a comment down below. We still have Fire, Control, Do What I Want. We have, what else? Mountains, Fire with Fire, Dangerous, Unsinkable. We have lots more songs to do. I reckon if we manage to do all of them, there'll be about 5 parts. So if you want a part 3, just let me know down below. Make sure you like this video if you have, comment anything you like, and make sure you subscribe because I upload every week. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.